Talk more about this now with Cheryl Dorsey and Andrew Cherkasky. Cheryl is a retired Los Angeles police sergeant, and Andrew, a criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor, joining us this hour. Thank you both for your time. Cheryl, starting with you, from a law enforcement perspective, the district attorney said the officers thought it was a gun. Turned out it was a cell phone. Your reaction to the DA's decision?
Well, as a supervisor and someone who's reviewed uses of force in the past, what I hear is code speak and double talk from the prosecutor. Police officers are trained to know what they're shooting at. We have shoot, don't shoot scenarios all the time because you need to be sure about what's in someone's hand when you fire your weapon. Understanding that cell phones are bedazzled, they're different colors, they're metallic. You don't get to shoot someone based on a belief. You're the trained professional. You need to have target identification before you let go around. And then to fire 20 rounds, there was no assessing of the situation after 2 rounds and then determining whether or not there's really a need for 18 more. It's outrageous and it's offensive to try to convince us of anything otherwise.
So, Andrew, same question to you. Some 20 times the officers fired. What was it about the evidence in this case that played into the DA's decision in your view?
The loss of any life and the loss of Mr. Clark's life is truly tragic, but every single case involving a police shooting has to be looked at independently and the facts in that case. In this case, we have a 61-page report that gets into the gross details of exactly what happened in the moments leading up to the shooting itself, and the moments afterwards. It's ultimately the duty of the district attorney to look at whether the officers had a reasonable belief that they were fearing for their own personal life. Not only did they have an actual belief of it, but that it was reasonable under the circumstances. The fact that someone shoots 20 times would indicate that they were shooting to kill. That's often what police officers are trained to do. When they fire their weapon, it's meant to kill the person that they're shooting at. This is a tragic case.
So family members and now the ACLU are calling for policy changes, and city officials were even quick to speak out on this. The mayor had this to say just shortly after that decision was reached. Take a listen.
The current 100-year-old standard defining officer-involved shootings needs to change. Today's announcement only deepens my commitment to changing that long-held standard that allows officers to shoot when objectively reasonable, to a clearer set of specific rules and standards that requires officers to do all they can to prevent a potentially lethal confrontation in the first place.
So, Cheryl, would this act make a difference here? Talking about policy changes, the mayor speaking out on it.
Well, listen, you can change policy all you want, but what is very difficult to do is argue with what is in someone's head. And if a police officer says that they fear for their safety, I think they should be required to articulate why. I understand that you were fearful in the first firing of 1 or 2 rounds. What was it that was going on that caused you to still be fearful by rounds 12, 13, 14? Officers are not trained to unload a clip. You don't shoot bullets just because you have them. You're there to stop the threat, not to punish. And this was excessive. It was over the top.
And Andrew, the same question to you. You know, when you hear the mayor talking about policy changes, do you feel like that would make an impact here, or what are your thoughts?
In this case, I don't think that a policy change to the law would make a difference, because the circumstances leading up to the shooting were such that the officers thought that they perceived a shiny object, a weapon in the hand of Mr. Clark, and that he was approaching them when they had already taken cover. So in this case, and the report lays it out in great detail, that not only did the officers fear this, but from an objective perspective, from an outsider's perspective, someone in that circumstance would have had a feeling like they needed to fire those rounds. Now, the point that's being made about it being so many shots that are fired. Again, it's unfortunate that once a gun is fired, the point of shooting that gun is to eliminate the threat. In this case, even, those officers were checking themselves for wounds afterwards. They thought that they had been shot at. So it's unfortunate, again, but this is one of those cases where the facts don't support prosecution.
Well, nearly a year after this happened, the decision has now been reached, and certainly the family left in disbelief. Cheryl, Andrew, again, thank you both for your time. We'll keep in touch with you.
Thank you.